it's Katie here from the Scrappy Sisters, and I am up today with day 15 of Scraptember, the series we run with Laura Alberts every year. Today's prompt is mixed media. Now, I am doing a very, very, very subtle mixed media. I could have done more. I should have probably done more, but honestly, I was a bit short on time. And I just started creating this and then I just kept going. I had planned on creating my background, leaving it to dry overnight and then coming back and finishing the layout. But I just got on a roll and I got in a creative kind of mood and I just kept going. So anyway, I am using my Shimmers products, which I got from Crazy Craft Obsession. This is a layout for Crazy Craft Obsession, and my design team work with them. And Cass sent me a whole heap of Shimmers products that go with, or well, that would go nicely with the Happy Days collection from Coco Vanilla Studio. And I have not had time to play with the Happy Days collection until now. Which obviously the new collection has just come out, but I thought, you know what, Cass still has heaps of Happy Days left in the shop. So if you are from Australia or New Zealand and you would like to purchase scrapping products from an online Australian small business, definitely go and check out Crazy Craft Obsession. And they do have the Happy Days collection from CVS and also the new one that's just come out as well. I should know what it's called, but at the moment it's slipped my mind. But don't you worry, I have ordered it from Cass and it's not on its way, but I have ordered it and she has put aside my bits and pieces because they do this amazing, okay, sorry, just watch me do my mixed media. It's just the packaging technique. There's nothing special about what I'm doing on the page. It's super easy. But they do this amazing box shipping option. So you can just like keep buying things and you pay a one-off shipping fee. That is a little more expensive than if you were to ship like a smaller quantity. However, you can fill the box chock-a-block full. Like, you know, things that you might like do 5 orders for and pay like 10. I can't remember what the standard shipping rate is anymore. It just went up with Australia Post, I think. But the box shipping means you can just fill it. They just fill it. They just keep filling the box and then they send you the box when it's full. It's amazing. Love it. Love that a lot. Have made use of that a few times. So what am I doing? Packaging technique. So I'm using a range of the mists from Shimmers. So I've got a couple of vibes, one colouring and one spritz. Now, Cass would be able to tell you the difference between these. I am not so good at that. So Vibes is an iridescent water-based sprayable medium. What's colourings? Let's have a look. Colourings, oh, it's flat, extremely colourful, water-based sprayable medium. So the Vibes have shimmer in them and the colourings do not. And then the spritz definitely also has shimmer, but I don't know what else the difference is. Anyway, I used a whole range of colours that do match the Coco Vanilla Studio collection. But what I actually did was then use a paper towel to soak a lot of it up. So it's a really subtle background, but it is super pretty. And I will definitely be using these again to make a background where I cover less of it up because I go on to make a grid layout and I cover like 90% of the mixed media that I have created. And I will say I did not use mixed media cardstock. Like I have Vicky Bouton paper here and I totally should have used that for my background, but I didn't. So my paper did warp slightly with all the water that I'd put on it, but I still use it. I still continue to create my layout with it. So my layout is not completely flat. It will absolutely flatten down once I put it into my album and have the heaviness of everything else around it. But at this exact moment, it is not flat. Now I have used one of the papers from the Happy Days collection, and it's the one that has like the super cute mixed media background around the edges and then it's blank on the inside. Excuse me, I am losing my voice. I could have gutted it, absolutely. The B side of that paper is like a peach and lemon design, but I just knew I probably wasn't going to use that, so I didn't gut it. So I can hear you all yelling at me through the your iPhones and phones and devices and screens. that I should be gutting my paper. I hear you. I hear you. And I've said this before. I have more paper than I can use in my lifetime, so I am not so worried. Obviously, if it was my favourite paper, I would absolutely have gutted it, but I didn't think that I would particularly miss using the peach and the lemons. And also in the Cocoa Vanilla Studio collections, you get 2 of each design. So I've got this one as well already. You know, it is what it is. It's fine. I didn't gut it. Let's just move on. So I have cut down my photos into 3x3 square, and they are photos of a trip that we took to the zoo. When was this? This was in February of this year. I have finally started scrapping photos from this year, which is exciting. I don't think I've completely finished last year's photos. I definitely haven't done Christmas. But for whatever reason, I've moved on to 2023. I am normally a chronological scrapper, so I really need to sit down and go back through and just see which ones I still need to finish for my albums to be complete. That will be a project for another day, maybe when I've taken some leave. So you can see I have got 6 photos, and then I've got 3 extra spaces in my grid. So I did cut out a few things from one of the cut apart sheets in the collection. So I've got a little bike that just says enjoy the ride, and the reason I've used that is because I don't know if you can tell from how small these photos are, but we were at the Melbourne Zoo, and if any of you have been there before, there is a really old carousel at the Melbourne Zoo, like really old, and it's still in operation. It only opens on the weekends, and it does cost you money to ride. It's like, I don't know, $4 or something. But Lincoln was desperate to go, and so he went on a ride and he loved it. But I thought that enjoy the ride sentiment worked well, even though we're not riding a bike, we're riding a horse, but that's okay. And then I've got a little journaling spot where I'll put a little bit of journaling, and then the bottom right hand corner is just basically a space. I've used the B side of the cut apart sheet. I can't remember what was on the other side, sorry, but it's a gingham yellow base print, and that will just hold a embellishment cluster. So I was going to embellish kind of in more spots than just the 3 extra blocks, the 3 pattern paper blocks, but I don't. That also holds my embellishment clusters. And yeah, I'm really happy with how this layout turned out. Really happy. I think it was a great way to get 6 photos onto one page. I do a lot of multi-photo scrapping now, particularly with my kids. I just take way too many photos and I don't have enough room in my albums. So I jam as many photos onto the page as I can without it trying to look too cluttered. And I think a grid layout is a great way to do that. Because 6 photos on a page, I think personally is pretty impressive. And then, as I said, I've cut them down to 3x3. I did lose some of the detail in my photos, I'm not going to lie. There were a couple that I would probably have looked better, slightly larger. However, we go to the Melbourne Zoo all the time. We have annual passes. We go 4 to 5 times a year. I have got all of these photos taken multiple times before at various ages of children. In fairness, this may have been Addie's first time at the zoo. I can't remember, but she also was not even 1 yet and much too young to remember. And she's only in 1 photo. So anyway, it didn't matter that I cut off half of it. I know where we are. We're at the carousel where Danny is pushing Addison in the pram with Lincoln walking beside him. That's in front of the giraffes and zebras. And then the photo of Lincoln holding onto the fence, we're looking at the elephants. I can tell you where all these photos are because we go all the time. So yeah, I wasn't too worried. Also, I can probably hear a few of you yelling at me again through your screens. I am not measuring anything. And my layouts are not perfect. However, I think I do a pretty good job for eyeballing this, because obviously a 3x3, so 9 squares on the page is fairly obvious when they're a little crooked, but I still think it works. Now I do pull out the chipboard titles here, and I am going to use one on a page, and I pull out the fun days together, and it takes me a while. You'll see in a minute about how I think about sort of placing my title, and I play around with it a little bit until I settle on the final placement, because I didn't want to overlap across sort of out, let me start again. I didn't want to go too far outside of my squares. I did want to keep with the grid pattern. But I really liked that title, Fun Days. I wanted the together to be there, and it's just too long. So you can see me there playing around with this. I did think about putting the entire title onto the yellow, but I didn't then like how the together hung over. So then I thought, okay, I'll run along the bottom. I didn't love that. And then I placed it here where I'm putting it down now, in between the second and the third rows. And I don't mind that. So that is where the title will stay. I think it works, even though it does, it does mean the second and third grids are kind of touching because the title is sort of touching them together. But that's okay. I think it works all right. Now I'm going through the ephemera, trying to figure out what I am going to put on this page. And I am sorry to say, I fall back on my love of florals and I add florals again to this page. I was trying not to. I was trying to pull from the ephemera pack and not use florals, but I just couldn't because the florals are amazing. I should have got 2 packs. Just saying. I should have got 2 packs. Anyway, I'm putting away all the ephemera bits and pieces, going for the florals, and I'm adding again 3 florals into each cluster, as well as some of the other little bits that come in the floral pack, like the little buds, and I think there's some like berries and stuff and some leaves, but that's what I end up using to create my clusters. Now I was in a rush when I was filming this. I was on a tight timeline waiting for my son to come back home from his Ulmers, and so I do not film myself sticking down my ephemera. So I'm going to place it all down here in a minute, and then I'm actually going to stop filming, and that will be the end. I don't film anymore. You'll just see my close-up, and that was just because I was running out of time. My son was arriving home, and so I stuck this on at a later point and then snapped my photos. But just, yeah, so the video is actually nearly finished, even though I still have a ways to go. What else to tell you? Did I tell you a few things? Crazy Craft Obsession. All the details will be linked down below. If you live in Australia or New Zealand and you would like to buy from a local small Australian business, I will leave a referral link down below where you can get some dollars off your first order if you create an account, and I will get some dollars as well off one of the many purchases I make there. And then I will also link to the Scraptember information. So there's a playlist for Scraptember, and you will know the drill by now. It's day 15. You know, halfway through the month. So I will leave a link to the playlist and to Laura's channel, and then go along and check out what everybody else is creating, because there's some amazing things happening. I'm actually filming this voiceover. It's already September. I'm a little behind. So I have seen so many amazing creations going up. We do have a Facebook page that will be linked in the description box down below. So definitely come along and join us. I think I'm nearly finished. Oh yes, I'm adding another puffy fabric heart to each of my clusters because they are the best thing since sliced bread. And I am glad I bought 2 packets, and I probably should have had another one, because honestly they are amazing. If you don't have them yet, don't walk, run and get some. And then the puffy stickers are also really cute. The puffy hearts, they are much harder to find, I will say that. So here are my close-ups. Everything will be linked in the description box down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. We will see you tomorrow. Bye guys.